Not enough nonsense in your life? Need a little more? Well, get ready, because these two have it in spades. Loose talk.
What are you talking about? Nonsense.
Even looser opinions.
Please explain.
And you're along for the ride.
Everybody strap in!
This is The Burble with Benny and Az.
And welcome along to The Burble. Hello, my name is Benny.
My name is Az.
The world, dead set, has gone mental again for another week, and we are here to extract the nonsense out of all of that. And this is what The Burble is all about. And we are here to infect your ears with the nonsense that happens to be the world. You live in it, we live in it, but we're going to have a different skew, a different slant.
We're kind of like the podcast equivalent of the WTF emoji.
Wow, that's marketing.
Isn't it?
Don't throw out what we can sell.
All right.
We need to do our own emoji, a burble emoji. Just basically with two beers and two faces, and that's it.
And yeah.
Look, we discussed this before we actually started this podcast, and I'm going to have a rant about something which is a big news story which is happening all over the world after a documentary's been released, but I'm going to have a rant about this, okay? I've brought some stuff to the table. We want to talk about a New South Wales man who's faced court accused of having some with a golden retriever, and there's another 200 other stalking, assault and sexual offences.
Bloody hell.
I know, which have been brought up against this guy, okay?
Wow. And I'm going to actually talk about an American, obviously, who managed to shoot himself after doing something really dumb.
Also as well, a student artist wants to get rid of the idea that having pubic hair is gross, unsexy, or unhygienic.
Wow.
I'm just going to say this right off the top of the bat. I'm not up on my scaping.
No, I haven't manscaped for a while. I've let that shit go.
Also, as well as you've got this one that just defies logic.
Oh, I love this one. We're going to talk about the internet's favourite conspiracy theory. We're going to have a chat about some flat earthers and what they're planning to do next.
Historians have brought up this subject in regards to over in the Scandinavian areas of the world, as apparently what they used to do. How can I put this? They made necropants. Necropants.
Is that like some sort of new exercise we haven't heard of? Or?
I don't know. Plus, as well, there's a mum who didn't like the colour of her bedside tall boy, whatever the hell it was, and then only realised that it wasn't that colour for about 3 years.
Well, lovely.
Yeah, that's all coming up on The Burble.
Loose talk, even looser opinions.
This is the best show on earth.
This is The Burble.
So firstly, I want to say that this whole Christchurch incident that has occurred, I was very sad to learn about this due to the fact that the perpetrator is actually Australian. That did all this damage, and a lot of lives are lost over in Christchurch. And I'm not making fun. We are not making fun of this whole thing. It just feels like something that should be talked about. Now, it is the 75-odd page manifesto of this bloke, and we're not even going to mention his name because it's not even worth mentioning.
No.
Has gone over there and has done what he has done. The fact that this flog live streamed it.
Yeah, human excrement.
Yeah. And now this big question has started to occur in terms of social media sites who allow live streaming, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of thing, are now having a deep, hard look at themselves and maybe actually stopping their live streaming of anything at all, because the way it works on Facebook, as I understand, because you're quite techie, is that the fact that you can go and do it, and people will log in and all that kind of thing, and then they go, "We're preparing your once you hit stop, they're preparing the video to
It saves.
Saves, exactly
Yep.
right. I've done a couple of live streams. I'm sure you've done a couple of live streams as well. But what actually happened, and here's a story from New Zealand, some companies, some businesses, some, workplaces. Well, there's one person apparently who got the sack for watching this whole thing live on the stream while he was in the workplace.
Right, okay.
ACMA are now actually wanting to find out whether or not any television stations broadcasted this live off social media.
That's a bit rough. Why?
Well, no, it's not really when you think about it.
But why would you broadcast it? Like, obviously, a couple of minutes in, you're going to work out what the hell's going on.
News services want to be the first to report anything, you know what I mean? Anything that's coming in that's live, they don't have cameras there. They go, well, shit, let's use Facebook or these places to do that. I'm for that. I'm for ACMA to go ahead and smack the wrist.
Absolutely.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Of these places that have actually done it. But I'm also with Facebook now. If Facebook had a soul, and we're yet to see whether or not Facebook has Zuckerberg.
He's a bit alien, isn't he?
He looks like an alien.
Yeah.
Whether or not they just gone, well, hang on a minute. Now we've provided this to everyone who wants to look at it.
Yep.
And so what happened in that tragedy, which is an absolute tragedy, let's not beat around the bush there. Let's not beat around. I don't want to get too political either, because this is not the podcast to get political. But what I want to know is, should Facebook just go, you know what, the live thing is off the table completely and utterly because of this? Not everyone is doing it or has done it. So, you can't smack the wrist of the masses in terms of this minority flog who has radicalized himself to go and do that kind of thing. Should the whole thing, in essence, be called off on social media to do those kind of live things?
Oh, it's a hard call to make, isn't it?
Yep.
Like, on one hand, you've got the ability for dickheads like this to go and do that, but on the other hand, you've got the wealth of content and, live streams that are actually worth something to watch. Do you punish the millions that do the right thing because of one or two idiots who do the wrong thing? Mm-hmm. See, and then I've seen in the media, people are saying, well, Facebook should have been quicker to react. It's like, but there must be millions of live streams going on at once.
And they don't have enough staff to monitor.
You can't watch all of them. And like, I get that you're outraged and I get that you're upset and I get all of that, but realistically, is blaming Facebook going to help? I don't think it's the root cause. I think it was just a way for this dickhead to get a platform. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't Facebook, he would have used some other service, or he would have, mailed a video to the television station or whatever, put something on YouTube that was set to come out after everything had gone on.
Yep.
Like, there's so many ways to do it. With this circular logic, we should just ban humans because, this human could do that, so could any other one. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not taking away from the tragedy of this at all, but is it a knee-jerk reaction? Like, is it, oh, well, now this guy did this, so we must ban all live streams?
Look, I understand what you're saying, though. Should we ban humans?
Yeah.
How do we know that this flog, I'm going to refer to him as a flog, complete absolute flog, who's caused unspeakable damage to, families. We're not talking about, they said there was the victims between the 40s and 50s in terms of the numbers of people, but, people have families. They have children.
Of course they do.
So this is affecting not only hundreds but thousands of people. How do we... Well, look, I don't have the answer to be able to fix this radicalisation and all that kind of thing. But when it comes out of left field, when he was like... And it's known that he was an Australian, went to New Zealand. Now, you need to remember that Australia, since the Port Arthur incident that occurred back in 1996, the Howard government successfully, and a lot of people just went, yep, I have these weapons, I'm going to turn them in. You saw the footage as these weapons being, sitting in like some type of disposal yard. Yeah. They were being grabbed by plant machinery and crushed.
And crushed.
New Zealand hasn't had that.
No, but people are coming forward in New Zealand, just going to the local cop shop and going, here's these guns, I don't want them. Yeah. Piss them off.
Piss them off.
That's great.
It is great. And you think that, from New Zealand that it wouldn't happen because they are a very loving society.
They are chill.
They are very chill.
Yeah.
They are absolutely chill. The most amount of violence has probably happened. The greatest battle I've ever seen in New Zealand would have been the fight at the end of the Return of the King of Lord of the Rings. No, but I'm serious though. Like I can't even think about that because New Zealanders like to hold on to wholesome things. That's why Slice of Heaven was in the charts over there for like 40 odd years.
Yeah, and Foot Right Flats.
Drop it out.
Yeah.
Now the Prime Minister, Janine Ardern, is that her name? Jacinta Ardern, over in New Zealand, has been an absolute rock.
She is how you should lead a country.
And is a shining example of how a leader should lead a country through a time of crisis.
Absolutely. She's just done really, really well. And all of the things she said, she's got up and she's just gone, this is not on, the gun laws are going to change. She changed the gun laws within like 2 days.
And they all agreed. The Parliament agreed.
Yeah. And, it's amazing. Like, the whole country just went, oh, yeah, we probably don't need semi-autos, Like, we can go hunting with a rifle or a normal gun. Yep. We don't need an assault weapon.
No.
Yeah, cool. Let's get rid of them.
Yep, exactly.
Sweet. Went straight through Parliament. Any other country in the world, and yes, I'm looking at you, United States, would be all like, oh, my God, they're trying to take our liberties and freedoms. How dare they take our guns?
They're not. They're just trying to make sure that you don't take lives.
Exactly. There's a time and a place for everything. But New Zealand has really stood up as one of the smallest nations in the world and stood up and been one of the biggest, best leaders. I don't know how to say that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tiny little country.
It is.
It's where the Lord of the Rings is, and it's got the Shire. And
do you remember when John Oliver was doing Last Week Tonight?
Yes.
In America.
Yes.
A couple of years back when there was a mass shooting in the United States, whether it was the one in Sandy Hook or the one that was actually in the theatre, like the movie theatre. They were watching
the Batman.
The Batman one. He actually travelled to Australia and interviewed John Howard.
Right.
He also interviewed one of the gun rights nuts over in America and all that kind of thing, and basically said that they changed their laws in Australia. Whoop-de-doo. Came to Australia, interviewed John Howard, and said basically in one sweep we banned semi-automatics and automatics in one go. John Oliver then went whoop-de-doo, and Howard also said the same thing. If you don't remember it because you're looking perplexed, here's the audio. Now, this is courtesy of Comedy Central.
You hold up this sign whenever I make a suggestion that you think is infringing upon your Second Amendment rights, okay?
Okay.
Assault weapons ban. Boom, there it is. Increased background checks. Really?
Yes.
Just for background checks?
We don't do background checks for the First Amendment.
Okay, so let's just try this one.
Okay.
Nice and easy.
Sure.
A mandatory 1 hour waiting period if you buy a gun.
Why a mandatory?
Philip, are you kidding me?
Unless I could see a reason. No. I can't think of anything that I support. Because at the end of the day, none of it works.
Exactly. Gun control does not work. What if, hypothetically speaking, what if gun control could work? Which obviously it can't, so we know that it won't, so that's not a problem. But what if it could, due to that time that it did?
Okay, when was that?
Australia. Yes, Australia. In 1996, a Conservative Prime Minister, John Howard, instituted sweeping gun control laws following a mass shooting that shocked the nation. So should we be learning from this effective example? Of course not.
I guess if we're going to go to Planet X and say it's not the United States, it's some other planet, different people, different everything, I don't know. Yeah, but in the real world with human beings, it's not going to work, and gun control isn't going to work.
Mr. Prime Minister, let's begin in the formal Australian way. G'day.
How do you do?
Obviously, gun control doesn't work. It can't work. It will never work. So how was your scheme a failure?
Well, my scheme was not a failure. We had a massacre at a place called Port Arthur 17 years ago, and there have been none since.
0 gun massacres? Hold on. Did gun control actually work?
It stopped one thing. That could also be a statistical anomaly.
Yeah, it was just their mass shootings disappeared.
But there were so few of them. Whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yes. Mass shootings were rare anyhow.
Exactly. They probably barely had a massacre before 1996.
There were about 13 in the previous 18 years.
In the 18 years before Port Arthur, there were 13 mass shootings.
Yes.
Almost one a year.
Yes, I was